Hello, garden lovers. Welcome to our third and final installment of our journey together through Heronswood. After a quick stop in Chile via the Traveler's Garden, today we will spend most of our time wandering through the Renaissance Garden. This garden invokes a spirit of pure awe, delight, and mysticism. The myriad of earthly fern fronds, the captivating exotic blooms, the delicate mosses gently creeping upon artifacts of mankind's industrial past. This is a garden for the ages, of the ages. Please enjoy as we go together for the last time over the hornbeam hedge of Heronswood.
Here we are in the Traveler's Garden.
So is this another new addition?
Yes, so the Traveler's Garden is one of the newest gardens here at Heronswood. It's supposed to represent 3 regions of the world that Dan has collected plants, but all represented in the garden. So right now we're in the section of Chile, hence this mass planting of Gunnera, which, believe it or not, these plants were 1-gallon plants only 2 years ago.
What?
When they were planted.
That's amazing. Yeah, they really have filled out.
Yes. With the exception of this one here, that just like, dude, like, what's happening? Like, are you okay? Which to me it's exciting because, like, oh, maybe there is one that's genetically just dwarf, you know?
Yeah.
Because not everyone has room for a gun.
Right. Imagine if you had to run through there.
Well, that's
Would
kind
be
of the hope. I think what
painful.
Ross would want is to basically create a tunnel through this so people can have that experience of being under the leaves of these Gunnera.
But I
Yeah.
guess you would be far enough away from
Oh
these.
yeah, no, those hurt. It's very cool.
But you could make it like an Iron Man challenge. Like, you know, can you withstand
a whole
the pain?
obstacle course, yeah. In the other countries, we have Western North America represented, so like the Siskiyou Mountains, for example.
Oh.
So just beyond there, we'll have a selection of manzanitas and ceanothus and that type of flora. And then lastly, in the section here, just east of Chile, is northern Vietnam. So most people think of Vietnam being tropical, but high elevation in northern Vietnam has yielded some hardy plants for us here in the Pacific Northwest that we want to be able to showcase. As you can see, it's a very young garden. Things are still, have just been planted and starting to establish.
And it's so cool to see a young garden like that too, to be like, okay, well, so these are the bones that are going in.
Yes.
And what are they choosing as the bones?
Yes. And the hope is in that central plaza there that in the future people would be able to stand in the center of that plaza and be surrounded by a forest representing these 3 regions of the world.
Amazing.
So right now we're walking towards the Renaissance Garden, or we often refer to it as the Wren. The Wren was basically the last garden that Dan Hinckley designed for at Heronswood, and he designed it as a gift to the tribe. And it showcases, again, more of plant collections, some from his travels and expeditions. It also has a unique story in that it tells the story of an abandoned encampment. When you walk through the garden, you'll see old artifacts kind of randomly, like an old tea kettle. There's an old rusted car towards the entrance of the garden. There used to be an old piano here, but then that kind of fell apart. And then an old stove. So basically, it's supposed to represent this encampment where man had stepped in, worked. But now, this Renaissance, this new life, nature takes over.
Yeah.
And is making a resurgence and coming back and reclaiming its place. It features one of the largest fern collections in the country.
Wow.
And also just a slew of just incredible treasures, again, from around the world, that to expand on what Heronswood has been known for. Things like another species of Paris here is absolutely stunning.
Wow. Oh, especially with the needles from the Western red
cedar.
cedar on top of it.
Oh,
That
that's
is
cool.
So pretty. These were all placed here?
These are all placed here, yes, these stumps. Some of them are here from the garden, some were from other parts of the county. So it's a stumpery, and it's one of those features of the garden that we like to highlight here. It's becoming kind of trendy actually amongst the gardens here in the Pacific Northwest because we have the materials. You just, got to use them in a fun way. The logs themselves can actually act as a nurse log. In a way, it can provide habitat to all sorts of different organisms, but it's also just their unique structure and that they provide. But here we have very cool plants. And again, the incredible fern collections. The Mayanthemum here is in full bloom.
Oh my gosh,
it's absolutely
yes.
stunning. So this is Mayanthemum oleraceum. It's one of those plants that people will ask about and ask is it for sale, sort of things. Like not quite yet, because pretty much this is the only plant of its kind right now. It's a species that you can find, but this particular one is really quite exceptional. Pay attention to the beautiful pleating on the foliage, but also the red color of the stems, how it bleeds into the leaf.
Yeah.
And if you can find a hint of light to see it backlit, it looks like it could be glowing. And we can see the light now just starting to come through. The foliage is beautiful, but when it can hit that petiole, it just is just magical.
Yep, I'm seeing one.
Yes, you begin to see it right there. So
the blood of it. Beautiful.
Actually, that's a gift from Ernie and Marietta.
Oh, wonderful. Leuquinensis?
It's one of the hybrids of Leuquinensis,
Nice.
yes. Fern table is certainly a highlight of
It's like a
garden.
little fairy world.
It is, and speaking of which, we have a little fairy house that's in here.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It needs to be reshingled, but one of our interns, Karen Albert, was a Hort student and wanted to do a project for us, and she was interested in fern gardens and wanted to install a few in the garden, but also teach a class in a little workshop. Yeah. So this is wonderful for anyone that might have a disability or is not able to garden in a way that most gardeners are able to. So it's a great way to showcase a nice diversity of plants that's easily accessible. And again, through the seasons, evolves and changes as well. And for not a lot of space, you can have a lot of interest in a garden.
So the garden trends right now, having a stumpery and a fern table.
Yeah, so not everyone can have a stumpery or have the space for it, but the fern table for sure is something that anyone can do. And it doesn't have to be as grand and large. You can just take a section of this and have it be just a simple tray of driftwood and a few rocks and that sort of thing with soil, planted with different ferns, embellish it with moss and lichen, and you create your own little world.
And the only challenge, I'm sure, is choosing ferns that get too big. They just overpower it. So.
Exactly.
And you have a really delicate epimedium. I love that.
We have a lovely patches of Chilean, which is a little terrestrial orchids, and they're like
Oh,
hot pink in
oh, that's
color.
what these are.
Yes, little meadow ruth electrum there.
Mm.
The autumn fern backlit is actually quite pretty. It's one of the more reliable ferns, I think, for our region because it's so colorful.
And they can take full sun, it seems like.
They can. It's not advisable because it really does heat up, but we irrigate regularly. It has to be pretty moist. Oh, more Paris.
Mm. Those are some big antennae.
Yeah, look at that.
It's like they're beaming information back to a different planet.
Yeah, that's. Hey, you never know. Plants surprise us.
If you had to just take 3 plants from this garden to colonize a new planet with you,
To colonize a new planet.
and it doesn't matter what zone or what conditions, could you choose 3?
Gotta have a fern for sure, just because they're incredible and adaptable.
Is there a specific one?
Oh gosh. Say Woodwardia unigimata, and we'll see some great examples of that. The jeweled chain fern, and I think its ability to just reproduce in the way that it does is fascinating. So it'll cover ground, like eventually, quickly, and yeah. So we've got to do a fern. Colonize a new planet with. So, I will say, even, this might be a controversial choice. Bamboo. I'll be more specific, I guess. A bamboo that's edible as well. So to be able to provide food, but at the same time, provide building materials, that sort of thing. Fern, a bamboo, and then I feel like I need a flower of some kind.
Yeah, I think so too.
Probably a rose. Just I'm enamored with roses, but it's something that at least our civilization has grown to admire and, and is so beloved and recognized, has multiple uses, and also it has so much history behind it too, that if we were to, take and be introduced into a new world, that it would be something that everyone would appreciate and embrace.
Beautiful.
So.
I love your answers.
Oh, thank you.
I was just so astounded at this spot because I've done a lot of hiking and backpacking, and that's kind of what's helped me to fall in love with plants.
Yeah.
And so this just takes me back to it, but in a more refined way. So you call this the rain wall?
Yes, we call it the raining wall, and it gets that name because when we have it on, water drips and trickles from the top. And it's simply an irrigation line that we have up on top, and it's its own station. And it basically runs when the garden is open for people to see. But it also provides a little habitat and microclimate of sorts to basically recreate how a lot of these plants would grow in the wild. So like in your hikes, for example, like let's say, you're approaching the waterfall kind of thing as kind of a destination. And when you're looking at, the rockeries, you will see plants growing within the rocks. So it's fun to see that represented here with the diversity of plants from around the world in these conditions. It's almost like these plants come from different parts of the world, but yet here they are trying to exist, in these conditions, which are, it can be challenging. Very limited soil, inconsistent irrigation.
It is pretty crazy to see what you do have here. Like some of it, I'm not surprised. Like the maidenhair fern that's naturally grows there. But like a Bergania.
Yes, Bergania.
And
yep, that's how it would be growing. The kind of the.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes, in a rockery in the cliffside of a waterfall, or even in a ditch. It's it's really adaptable. I've seen Bergania in the wild, in China. Things like epimedium, for example. We're so used to seeing these plants in a perennial border, in a planter, that sort of thing. And what you're looking at there is one dubbed the giant. And it gets that name because of its long inflorescences, which can be up to 4 feet in length.
I remember this one from your presentation.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, a rush.
And it's lovely there. This is
my God.
actually a selection that Dan made. He named Dwayne West, who was a former nursery manager and a longtime gardener at Heronswood, named it in his honor. And it's an excellent plant. Wow. And it's been blooming for, at least 3 months.
My goodness.
And slowly right now backlit with the sun.
Riz, it's been such a just miraculous journey through Heronswood with you. So thanks for taking us over the fence.
with you and through a garden. Isn't it amazing to be able
We
to do
really
that?
did.